Hi, greetings everybody. This is Wesley Pepper and this is the Lexcia podcast. This is an episode that I recorded earlier on in the month. It's actually with my neighbor Kabelo Sebolai. We were talking about AI and how it's impacting our lives and all of this, and we thought we might as well just put it together in in an episode type format. So we recorded this episode like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we basically just talking about his opinions about it and so forth. And man, if you're new to this channel, hit that like and subscribe button. And all to my new and returning listeners, much love, man. This is I've been experimenting with different formats and different styles of podcasting over the past few months, and some of it is working better than I thought. So this is part of it. So yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. If we can have it I'm going to use my business as an example. It does all my marketing, it does all my finances, and it manages certain aspects of my platform. So all I have to do is basically, and I'm talking about my app, and my podcast. So I host the podcast. I have my personality, but everything else gets done by a bot. I just have maybe a co-host or a producer that does all these cool small things and so forth. And then with my app, we just have a team that manages it, that manages the different platforms. It oversees the finance and so forth. So in other words, from having a team of like, let's say 20 people, I now have probably like 7 or maybe less, right? So I know there's a bit of a digital. I mean, I also don't know what the future's like over there, but because I know I'm really taking money from somebody, but I know it'll also be benefiting me because I've got to eat too. So I mean, from that point, there's also I mean, this is off topic, but there's also these sex bots as well that also has some form of so you can come home and actually go to your partner, whatever. So I mean, that just makes everything weird, and I don't really want to talk about that. But you understand? No, I don't want to talk about. I'm just saying sex bots too. I'm just saying that does exist, and it's part of the whole ecosystem, which is crazy, just wild. But you see what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying.
What's your take on all of that?
On sex bots?
No.
Okay, because I don't really want to talk about that.
No, I don't want to talk about sex bots.
Okay. I think it's just, Wiz, I think, like I said, I think it's a bit of a two-parter. Like I said to you outside before we even started this whole thing. I think there isn't enough of an emphasis on actually. Because whenever you talk about AI and you're like, it's going to take our jobs,
Yeah, you were saying job creation.
The first counter, the counter you always get is, no, but then we're going to reskill and re-educate people. But yeah. So what I'm saying is, I just wish they should do more put more effort into reskilling people.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Because they'll always tell you, but manufacturing, somebody has to manufacture and all these bots and all that. But then I think let's focus more on that. I don't hear enough about reskilling or teaching people the skills to create these robots that will be taking our jobs. I read, I think it was on Bloomberg magazine 2 years ago, there was a bar in Sweden that actually had a robotic bartender. So imagine how you go to a bar, you can't even get a job as a bartender because there's a robot doing that for you. And we're seeing it happen in McDonald's, your KFCs, they've got their machines. And a few years ago, like 10, 15 years ago, when you go to a McDonald's, you'd probably have like 20 staff members. Now they're less than what they were because they've got this machine that's already doing that. Yeah, they've already got those machines. So who's to say in the next 10, 15 years, we'll only have maybe one person, the manager and the person who's going to do the cleaning, and then everything else will be autonomous. So I think we need to put more emphasis on skilling and educating people in manufacturing of these robots that are taking our jobs.
That's a good point. So where do you think you start, and where do you think people need to be skilled with? Where do I think? And I'm not talking like you're a politician. Like I'm asking you to go tell the African working class. Like I don't care for that. where do you think personally, like in your personal space?
Where do you start?
Yeah. So let me take it a notch down. So like within your family, like within the family structure, I don't know if people talk about that. I know I do, but like where do you think when you say reskilling, the understanding of what's going on? Do you think you must talk to your son? You must talk to your partner and so forth, your mother, and yeah. But you understand what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying, and I think I hear where you're going, but I feel like even that there's only so much I can do. There's only so much I can teach my parents about AI and robotics or whatever, because I myself am not like an expert. But even so, I think it's something that needs to now start being introduced in our schools, our school systems, because if these robots and AI are coming in and taking our jobs, me teaching my kid about it at home, I don't think it's going to do much to actually equip him with
interesting point.
Getting into the work environment. We need to now start incorporating these courses in our schools. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you go to China, I don't really know much about their syllabuses that side, but I'm sure if you go there, they probably do robotics and coding in their syllabus. I think they do. I think they do that in America as well. We need to start introducing and incorporating courses, subjects like that within our school system, so that our kids can then also have a basic understanding.
Yeah, man. I fully agree that I want to add on to that point. When talking about explaining and talking about tech, that's why I'm trying to do it as often as I can on my podcast, is to try to destigmatize it, and yeah, for future generations also to see how our generation understand this whole boom that is coming, and how we how we understand and reacting to it. So when you're talking about reskilling, example coding, I'm for that 100%. I think mathematics, it's funny, I'm an artist, but like I do think art is incredibly important in that narrative too, especially music. Learning to read music is also a big part of it. I think those skills are very, very, very important. I'm with you there. So moving forward from there, like let's just say in this perfect world that there is some form of understanding within the family system, that you're working from a good base, you understand how to use it on a professional system. You have this duality between, I mean, we can't always win, but so it's taking care of the business and you're doing okay in that regard, or at least you understand what I'm saying. And the collaboration. Before I get to the future, I want to get to just, do you believe in all the, and this is also a bit of a, I don't know, but maybe not tongue in cheek, but there's a lot of conspiracy. Let's just use it, conspiracy around it.
That one day a robot's gonna take over.
That I mean, we already brought up, like you can have a partner that's a robot, and she can have a personality. There's some really funny comedy of how breaking up, if you have a relationship with this thing, how you can't break up with her because she'll like cancel all your credit cards and like she'll expose all your. It was really funny. But there's that type of. Did you buy into any of that absurdity? Because before, I just want to give you another version of it. When was the advent of social media, not even social media, shows you my age, but even TV, video, every new bit of technology was going to be the end. And now churches are on Facebook, on Instagram, and they're broadcasting of all of these platforms. So yeah, I just, there's two sides to it. But what's your take on the absurdity and the conspiracy around?
I don't know. Honestly speaking, initially that was my thought that, but guys, we can't be making movies about robots taking over every year and then continue creating robots. So I think
it's gonna take over the world.
Yeah, I think I haven't really thought about it that much. It's not something I entertain very much, the thought of a robot taking over. So But I'm not saying it would never happen.
You never gave it some thought that like
I haven't in a while, so I don't really have an opinion on that because I don't think about that as much anymore. You know.
Let me put this on the table and make it more personal. So I mean, you can get this off Google right now. If you have a Gmail account, where you go into there, blah blah blah, and the settings, and you can sort of see what some of the metadata that they collected on you. I mean, when I checked, it was like stupid shit anybody will know about me, so I wasn't impressed. But the thing is, the point is I want to make is that we have our entire live broadcast or data in a cloud somewhere, right? I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think that's bad news for everybody. I don't. I'm just creating this more tongue in cheek, but with all this data, and now you have, you know, technology that can be spiteful, maybe that can be. If I want to give you a real example, and this is unfortunate, but in this cancel culture over here, some shit that I said 100 years ago, out of context, somebody can take that shit and use it against me, and they can verify it, and it will be me, and I can't deny it, and I can be fucked, right? So that's one thing that I think is real and is happening. In fact, it's happened to many people. There's also this culture of cult or being in or being, and I mean in cult is because when you say cult, there's all these right-wing connotations to it, but it's just basically believing in what, like, everybody has a little echo chamber or a little group of friends that agree with them. So whatever bullshit you believe in, if you believe in the moon is flat or round or whatever, it's your thing, and you can live like 20 years, your full existence, believing that the moon or the earth is flat. Sorry. And you can believe that and your children, their children, and you will never get another perspective outside of the earth is actually round, even though you might jump into an aeroplane and fly around the world. It doesn't matter, you believe in it. So that's also real, okay, and that is having political and social effects across the world, in the arts, in politics, even in sport. There's just things there. So I do think I don't believe that it's, or rather let me say like this, when they say end of the world, I think that I don't believe in the term end of the world. I think that's just misinterpreted, but I do think that these things will have a bad impact on society, and it's already having.
Wait, when you say you do think that these things, what do you mean these things?
Data, the fact that all our data is collected there, it can be accessed by somebody, and it can be used, it can be weaponized against us.
So what do you think would then happen if it did? If it reached...
Well, I think it's already reached really ludicrous like levels. We are the most censored, in my opinion, the most censored time in our history, in recorded history. Everything you say is being broadcast and being captured, and you can use that if your opinion doesn't go with the popular narrative, which is usually controlled, and this is also not a conspiracy, by a small group of people, in comparison with everybody that is, they can use it, and I do think that actually, if I want to make it into a more practical example, into the arts in particular, there is this has been coming on, and I've been critical about this my entire career, is that if you get most artists from South Africa, or let's just say SADC, a visual artist or a poet, their break-in work will usually be work that celebrates poverty. It'll be some township scene. You never see kids with shoes on their feet, with cell phones on their hands. You never see pictures of buildings. You never see pictures of technology. It's always some fucking kid kicking a ball, looking hungry, a skin. You never see them, not fat, but you never see, and you don't see like really tough. And if the women are always carrying shit, they always got to, labor intensive.
A bucket of water.
Like, there is an entire, let's just say,
narrative that,
that's just what you want, and because it exists in let's just call it cyberspace, many people and generation of people buy into that narrative, and that's how they represent themselves and how they see themselves, and that's a fact. So even if you have a car, you have shoes, you know, you always throw kids with no fucking shoes. I hate that shit. I hate that shit. Why can't African kids be thrown with having shoes? I hate that. And there's never buildings. And as if it's a building, it's a fucked up building.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I do think that is and it is happening, and it will continue to, and you can look at it in music as well. The only way to, these days, the preferred way of becoming a popular artist is by having a TikTok video, very punchy, catchy, loud music, and that is being helped by these platforms like Spotify and others. These platforms have made it, because the platform exists in a certain way, that music must be created in a certain way to exist on that platform successfully, that is. And there's a certain formula you do that. Likewise, what I said with the poor narrative that you do on social, or rather, let me say, like more visual apps like Instagram, TikTok, and so forth. If you come from Africa, the narrative is poor, no shoes, and that type of shit. Music, you gotta always shake your backside, or some part of the woman. That thing is there, and for anybody who tries to go sort of against that narrative, it's difficult as fuck, because you're dealing with massive coding that, like, I don't even have the brain capacity to think out loud. That's why my thing, and I've said this on this platform a bunch of times, is that as an artist, I'm just all about, I love every single artist, and I will continue to make art, but I'll do it in a different way. I want to collaborate with coders, with programmers, with developers. I want to understand tech more, and I want to talk more to people who got different opinions than mine about, different opinions or perspectives of what I'm going to do with tech. So I want to broadcast that, and I think it's important to capture, and I do think it's impacting us, and it will continue to. It'll get louder. In fact, it's getting louder this year. Just my last point on that. I think there's over 60 or 20 elections happening all over the world this year, and there's major ones like from the UK, us in South Africa, and so forth. Most of these elections are being run off some social media platform, and the information that most of these people are getting might not always be the truth. So yeah, but you see my point.
Yeah.
What's your take on any of it?
Well, okay. Firstly, the question you initially asked about AI taking over, I don't know how much of a possibility or a reality that would be, but definitely there are people who may be able to, just like you spoke about conspiracy theories that are in actual fact real. There are people who might abuse AI and use it to benefit themselves, so AI, just like anything else that exists, I believe can be used for both good and bad, for both, and who's to say because AI is doing a lot of good today that it won't one day do. I mean, it depends really also where you're standing from. You'll be a CEO of a big company and AI comes in and it pushes productivity, but it also, like, it has people losing jobs. From where they are at, it's bad, because now they can't feed their families anymore. But for you, the CEO of this company, it's making you richer. So
that's why, like you say, like, if you must teach people to understand, because to tell your kid to send your kid to university to go and study something that's going to be obsolete in a few years is not a good idea. These kids need to be studying programming.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry about that. You just had to make a quick phone call. Yeah, man. Sort of. I see what you're saying. And let's just sort of wrap up in moving forward. And I want to create a scenario and see what your take is. Besides all these, no, let's not do elections and stuff. Let's. Wait first. I do wanna make this one point. I think this might actually be a bad thing because it might affect me personally in the future. But I know if you have a judge, right? You have a bot that is like a judge of some sort, and you like falsely accused or something. You can maybe say, okay, maybe you got a point there, but it will be on the other hand if you if you just trying to get the judge might not have any, there might not be any nuances in the judgment. It might just be straight black or white. So there's also the argument. Anyway, I want to talk about curating. Maybe I'll talk about that another day, because I think that's also a very interesting narrative. How do you get this AI to curate art for like massive platforms and so? But anyway, I think that's a conversation for another day. Moving, yeah, as I said, let me create this scenario for you. So, where do you see South Africa in Africa in 5 years? Let's keep it there. Given that ChatGPT was only launched last year in January thereabout, and already it's but you see my point is that the shit is moving at a rapid pace.
Truth is, Wes, I feel like Africa, more South Africa, in fact, is not really doing enough to catch up to where the rest of the world is, you know. There are places like, you know, I think there's a place that it's called Silicon Accra in Ghana. It's pretty much similar to...
Yes.
I mean, they've got initiatives like that. They've got, what's that? Kenya. They're doing a lot, you know. They're doing a lot in terms of technology. They've got, is it M-Pesa? Not M-Pesa, M-Pesa. M-Pesa, it's like, it's a, what do you call this? It's not a, it's a courier company, I think. I can't remember. It's Sandy and M-Pesa. I think M-Pesa is the one. It's a fintech company, and I think Sandy is a courier company. And they not just that, you know, not just like, there's a lot of companies coming out of Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa. Recently, it was a few years ago, we had a Silicon Durban, a guy called I can't remember what the guy's name was, but he had basically started his own project, which was like similar, which emulated Silicon Valley and Silicon Accra in Durban. And I don't know whatever happened to the dude, you know. So people are making initiatives in South Africa. I think we're just not catching up as quickly as we should be. So we're still lagging a little bit behind, but I think more should be done, you know, because like I said initially, the future has arrived. It's just not evenly distributed, you know. We need to get to a point where we keep up with this boom with the rest of the world, you know, and we need to also show the world that, you know, as South Africa, we can also bring our part instead of always just joining in late and saying,
I'm for that 100%,
you know. So I think let's start by introducing these things in our schools, letting our kids also join this boom, you know, instead of just being bulldozed by it, you know, and having everybody say, okay, well, here is what do you call this? Here is AI, here's technology, and you guys now need to learn this, or else you're gonna suffer. Because if we're not learning it now, when do we intend on learning about it? You know, I don't know. Am I making sense? Or... No,
you are, and I want to wrap that up there. I agree with you fully there, especially with the kids. As I said, I think all children should be taught music, art, programming, mathematics, and probably what's the other thing? Environmental. There's a thing to do with environmental, but to understand the environment, and sort of how they exist, because our technology is going to play an integral way of like how we grow food, for example. I think it's got a very important role to play there as well. Yeah, but anyway,
hydroponics, vertical farming. Just when you speak.
Yeah, I mean, here's another thing which is also pretty real to Kimberley, is the water crisis. So the water crisis is a fucking nightmare, and I guess if I had access to more, let's just say, resources, I would I think this old infrastructure, because most of this water crisis is brought by a failing infrastructure and poor management, and I think that technology's got a huge role to play there, because it's definitely not because there's no water. In fact, there's plenty. So I think it's got a very positive. We should work with it. But anyway, everybody, I hope if you got value of this content, please smash that like and subscribe button. And I will look to do some more of these type of episodes moving forward. And also, I've got I don't think I should announce that, but yeah, there's some more experimental content coming. Yeah, and remember you can check us out on YouTube, on all the platforms where you receive your podcasts. We all over. Kabelo.
Yeah, that's it for me. So thank you for having me, Wes.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for listening, and we should do this again another time.
Yeah. That was good fun. Thanks for coming through. Everybody, check us out, man. One love.
Short.
Short, bro.
Short, Wes.